Now, communities across the UK have been marking Remembrance ahead of Armistice Day this weekend. We've been in 4 locations, each showing a different way to display the poppy. Shortly, we'll be seeing how Edinburgh, East Lothian and Royal Wootton Bassett have been commemorating the fallen. But first, to Lincolnshire, where more than 250 children have been laying poppies and learning about those who lost their lives in World War II. Ali Gibson has more.
At the International Bomber Command Centre, Remembrance is interactive. These school children have a hero to learn about. They have to find out why they served with Bomber Command in the Second World War, and then they have to find their name from a cast of 58,000 inscribed on these walls.
His name's Kenneth Earnshaw. He's in the 617 Squadron, and he has done buskers.
And what did you have to do when you found his name?
We had to put a poppy in his name.
It's really amazing how many names actually there are, and also it's quite sad.
And what do you think's the best part of this place?
That I could actually find my name.
And what was the name you had to find?
I had to find Bush, and then I had to find an A.
There's so many names, and it's like you can go and be like remember people and find out names that you've never heard before. It's respectful because when people are walking around, they can just remember and try and find their names. So it's just like, I found this, I found that, but it's actually to do with something.
At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them. We will remember them.
The group gathered for a service of remembrance. Bomber Command suffered the highest losses of any unit during the Second World War. The average age of those who died was just 23. Lincolnshire was home to a third of all bomber stations, the cathedral a marker for the crews heading out on their dangerous missions.
Bomber Command was not given any recognition post-war. The boys have really fought to get that turned around. And in the heart of Bomber County, we found it really important to mark that with an education centre.
The idea is that this memorial serves now as a place for recognition and reconciliation for Bomber Command, remembering those from 62 nations who lost their lives serving or supporting the unit.
On the 23 walls and 270 separate panels here, there is no description of rank, gender or nationality. Every name and every sacrifice is treated the same.
And at the centre of this site is the UK's tallest war memorial, a steel spire more than 100 feet high.
There's like 2 aerofoils in there. The tallest one is the wingspan of a Lancaster, and at the base it's 16 feet, which is the width of the wing where it joined the fuselage on the Lancaster. And by chance, the second aerofoil, the slightly lower one, is the same wingspan as a Wellington bomber.
The International Bomber Command Centre will officially open to the public early next year, hoping to help the next generation learn the stories behind the names on these walls. Men and women who gave so much. Ali Gibson, Forces News, Lincoln.
Okay, finally tonight to a piece of living history as hundreds of school children gathered at the new Bomber Command Memorial in Lincoln on what is, of course, the eve of Armistice Day.
Yes, at a special ceremony to remember fallen soldiers from conflicts around the world. The youngsters laid poppies to honour those who'd made the ultimate sacrifice.
They also met Flight Lieutenant Les Rutherford, a 99-year-old survivor of Bomber Command 50 Squadron. He was shot down over Frankfurt in 1943. He's been speaking to our correspondent Rachel Townsend.
United in their thanks for the sacrifice made by so many. Today, school children joined a World War II hero to remember fallen soldiers. 99-year-old Les Rutherford served with Bomber Command. In December 1943, his plane was shot down. Only 2 of his crew survived. He was captured and then held a prisoner of war until May 1945.
Our plane exploded and blew me out of the front, and I parachuted down to earth. I had a lucky angel, I think, in the war, because at the beginning of the war I was in the army. We were trapped near Dunkirk, and I escaped by putting out the channel on a door. And it was mad, but it came off. I got picked up by a trawler and transferred to an English ship and got back to England.
Among the 200 children at the International Bomber Command Centre in Lincoln was Penny Lim, whose dad has just been deployed with the RAF.
How proud are you of your dad?
Very.
What has today's service made you think about?
Think about all the people who have died and what they've made today.
They fought for the whole country, not just themselves.
Those people have given their lives up for us, and if they hadn't, our world wouldn't be what it's like today.
Well, the memorial here is all about remembrance, recognition and reconciliation. And this wall of names lists the 58,000 volunteers who lost their lives serving or supporting Bomber Command.
And the close friends that Les lost along with his 17 months in captivity reminds him of the horrors of war.
It's futile. It doesn't get you anywhere. All it does is cause a lot of damage and it never seems to achieve anything.
On Sunday, the centre wants people to bring old pound coins to build a runway of gold right up to this spire to ensure that the thousands of lives lost are never forgotten. Rachel Townsend, ITV News, Lincoln.
And of course there'll be services in the coming days to remember those who died at war. This one was at Lincoln's International Bomber Command Memorial, earlier attended by hundreds of school children. It coincided with the sad news that one of the people behind the memorial, Lincolnshire's former Lord Lieutenant Tony Worth, has died at the age of 77.